All right. Welcome to the Forsaken Podcast.
Let's just get started. How about that?
Yeah. Okay. So I've been getting absolutely fucking harassed. Damn it, demonetized. I've been getting absolutely harassed with questions about dragons. How to get dragons. What are the immortals looking for to get a dragon? Like what are the criteria? Because it's different. It's different for each immortal. I think.
Do you know what? Do you know why you keep getting harassed about how you get a dragon? Is because you've been touting for the past months, saying I've got the perfect formula for getting a dragon.
I do, and for the low price of $15 a month, I will give you my dragon secrets.
Or I could spoil them right here, right now.
Yeah, just we'll get the PayPal worked out, and you can donate. But no, seriously, on a serious note, from an immortal perspective, Rygothran, what do you look for instance, when giving out a dragon?
Personally, I look for the length of the description, how descriptive it is. For me, it's like if you look at a person, there's a lot of different features you can look at, and yeah.
So you're talking about you want to see like their facial features, like
Yes.
you're looking head on. Because I imagine it like I'm walking, down the street or whatever, and when I see somebody, like say somebody's just standing there, I look at them. So it's like, what does that look like?
I guess like in every day, you don't really like look at people that closely, but if you were to look at someone that closely and describe them, how would you describe them from head to toe? What are they wearing? What are their facial features? Do they have earrings? Do they have a nose ring? Do they have scars on their face or on their body? All those little things add to a character's, overall look.
Would you say, because I do have the dragon formula. I'm going to go ahead and put out there the last, maybe, I don't know, in the past 2 years or so, I've gotten a dragon on every single character that I've rolled. And I follow a very specific formula, and it seems to be quite favorable. And I will say...
Depends on the context. That might mean absolutely nothing. You could have one character for 2 years, and it would still be true.
While, yes, that is a very, fine assessment of what could possibly be there. I roll a lot of characters because I get tired of characters quick. You know what I mean? I just do. And generally, I think part of what helps get a dragon is good formatting. If you just write a wall of text and expect to get a dragon, you're tripping. That's not going to happen. Clean that shit up, man. You got to trim the fat off of it. Paragraphs, tight paragraphs. If you have one paragraph that's like 3 sentences long, and you have another one that's like 8 sentences long, and another one's like 5, that's an eyesore, okay? As image is everything. It's a description. It needs to be aesthetically pleasing, and that goes with all your writings. Watch your RP rewards go up. Watch your dragons go up. Format that shit. Clean that shit up, man. Don't just throw it in there. Don't look lazy. Take the extra effort to make it look good. Start with the head. Start with the face. What do they look like? What's their facial expression look like? What color are their eyes? Can you even see their eyes? What's going on with that?
You don't wait. You don't necessarily need to start with the head.
No, you don't. You don't.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I would start with whatever, like, most draws you to that person, I guess. Like, maybe they have something on their armor, or their armor is, like, a bright silvery color, and that's kind of the first thing that you look, or, I don't know. I mean, what's the first thing you look at a person? Is it their face? Depends on the type of person, right?
Right. It depends on what the most striking feature is. Typically opening up, like, if their armor's real shiny, be like the gleam of the shiny steel armor from this blah, blah, blah catches your eye. So, whatever, that kind of stuff. Start with a good introduction sentence and have a good conclusion sentence.
Like, you view the boob window.
Let's say, like, obviously, the first thing you're looking at girls is probably not their face, I assume, Mr. Grimm.
Well, sometimes I have a choice, man, because I'm kind of tall, and chicks are usually short. So usually I'm looking at the top of their, it's like, Yeah, I have to. If I were to look like down, that'd be real obvious. So I got to kind of take it in, because if you focus your eyeball muscles, you can actually walk your eyeballs back farther in your head to expand your vision. Do you know that? With delicate eye control. Do you ever
No,
practice that kind of stuff? Zooming out in real time?
no, but this is going to be
Okay.
pretty funny because people are going to complain about this and your robot voice going in and out.
Is it robotic?
It was for a
It was.
second there. Yeah, it's fine. We'll just continue.
Yeah, okay.
They'll just say, hey, you guys are going to have to get over it because Grim is on his phone, and that's just the
That's
way it's
true.
going to be.
That's the way it's gonna be. I am driving. I'm in downtown Dallas, man. There's bridges, there's traffic. Who knows what's going on? But yeah, if you want dragons and you want to increase your dragon rate, think about all the things. Think about the little like the over, give the overarching like feel of what the character is. Use similes. Similes are always a good thing. Touch on the facial expression, like the posture. How they're standing, how they kind of carry themselves, like what kind of, all the things. Think about all that crap. Don't just be like, he's wearing a red hat, his arms are long, his beard is long. Don't do that kind of crap. Get in there, get intimate with it, make love to it.
I would say that it's kind of a picture in time that you're looking at, and
Yeah.
and
So it
then
doesn't have to
you're
be-
describing it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be head on. I mean, it could be a side profile or 3/4 if you want to go that way. Another thing is the help file specifically states 10 lines minimum. It doesn't say it has to be a specific width, or well, it does, but it's only got a maximum.
I think
But
it's
if you want to
formatted 70 character maximum.
Yeah. So if you want a dragon, you're not looking at a 50 wide column of text that's only 10 lines long, and expect that to pass.
Yeah, it needs to have some length for sure.
So I mean, just format. We'll put it about the 75 mark, and up to 30 lines total. Minimum 10, maximum 30.
Sweet spot is 21.
Yeah, I'd say that 30 lines is kind of, we decided that actually not too long ago. I think it may have been even more strict, but we actually started enforcing it because we weren't really enforcing it.
30 line maximum? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 30 line maximum.
Yeah.
10 lines minimum, 30 line maximum. So,
And
and I'd say typically, if you write 3 well-written paragraphs, I would say that I wouldn't be surprised if you get a dragon. I'm not going to tell you 100% that you will, but I wouldn't be surprised.
That's the pocket, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you get 3 paragraphs in there, you're looking at at least 20 lines anyway. So yeah. For half paragraphs.
Yeah. Personally, I like the sweet spot for me is 3 7-line paragraphs. That's 21 lines. If my math is correct. Magic, is that correct?
Well, depends. Do you count spaces or do you not? Paragraph spaces.
No. What?
Rygothran and I actually had a conversation about this the other day.
Lines of text. Each paragraph has 7 lines of text.
So yeah, that's what 20.
That should be 21.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why is that
7
23?
times 3 plus 2 spaces.
No. What you count? I mean, we're not counting. I'm talking about text lines.
Oh yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Well,
21,
even
man.
so, I mean, it's still within the 30 maximum 30. So whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, if that works for you, that works for you. If you want to sit there and do 3 paragraphs of 9, that'll still be out of.
Right. And that, yeah. And what do you think about people that take, a whole paragraph to describe how a chip on a piece of armor or something, or describe a gem in the hilt of a sword? Does that need 15 sentences dedicated to it, or is that fixating on all the wrong things?
I can barely write something like that. I can imagine reading that constantly. That would just be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, there are some players
I
who will
mean,
describe one item with like 3 or 4 lines, and it takes away from the overall description, but that's not to say that they can't have the other stuff well defined and they just want that to be a centerpiece.
yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 lines I can see, but dedicating like an entire paragraph to it, not so much.
Someone told me, I'm not going to share names because we don't do that here, that they wrote 40 lines describing just a face. And that was the entire description. 40 lines. First of all, that's out of regulation. Second of all,
Yeah.
that's not going to get you a dragon, is it? Just talking about the face for 40 lines?
I wouldn't give a dragon for just the face, because that's not all you see whenever you look at people.
I agree. Unless they're a disembodied face. But
Yeah.
I don't think that was the character. I
But
wouldn't
I
give a
think
dragon for that either.
I mean, I understand what they're thinking. They're thinking that the equipment that I'm wearing, the stuff that I'm wearing, is the actual equipment, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to look like a mage and be wearing, you know, insert any random piece of heavy equipment, you know, refracted horror skin. I mean, what the hell is that? If I'm a mage, I want to be wearing, you know, mage gear, or, you know,
Yeah,
it's
a
just
wizard
me. I have an idea of
hat.
what my character is in my mind, and it's not what the equipment that I'm wearing, which is some hodgepodge, you know.
Yeah.
Sure, if you're like in full Adeptus and you're a warrior, I mean, I can see how that would be cool, but, you know, maybe you're more of a dexterous warrior and you're not going to be wearing giant heavy armor.
Right.
So
And
that's
it even
why.
says it.
Go ahead.
I say it even says in the help file too that it's a given that your armor is going to change throughout the game. So you can have like the ideal of like what your dude is actually wearing, you know, and the in-game equipment is kind of like whatever, you know, like you don't have to. That's not necessarily what your character is wearing in the description, you know, because it's a given that you know that changes. So whatever you want to have him wearing like full time, you can have him wearing full time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, it's your vision of what your character is, what he looks like or she looks like.
Yeah, we're not discriminating here. He or she. You can roll both. You can actually even be neutral if you don't want to choose one or the other.
Yep. Be a neuter.
Yeah.
Although
Exactly.
the ones that are neutered are usually illithid.
That's true, but you can probably apply for it if you wanted to, right?
Actually, I can see Sliss being neutral too, commonly.
We've had neutered characters, but they're like what is that? I can't think of the dang name. I'm too tired. Like quest races. Like,
yeah.
People feel their quest race should be, you know, neutral sex, and so they'll apply for it.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. In the theme of a role-playing game, hey, do what you need.
But as far as like the standard classes are concerned, standard races rather, I mean, the illithids are neutered by default, regardless of what you put in during character creation. And Sliss, I can see being neuter more commonly.
I don't think we've ever had a slip since I've been here. But, I mean, I don't see why they couldn't.
Are they, what? A slith is like a snake, right? Isn't that what they're related to?
It's a reptile race.
It's a lizard man.
They lay eggs?
I don't know, do they?
So. Most reptiles do.
Maybe the help file says that. Maybe
that would
not.
make the most sense. That would make the most sense. All right, so changing gears here a little bit. I was thinking, you know, I was looking over the list of races, looking at stuff you roll up, man. There's a race in FL that is a staple in every fantasy thing ever since the dawn of time. And in FL, you just don't see many of them. And I'm thinking, like, why? Why don't, you know, why aren't there many of these? What's up with dwarves, man?
a lot of water weapons. Doom. We're done.
Yes, yeah, that was my response the other day. I just think there's a lot of water weapons. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any other reason. They used to be. I don't know about prevalent, but they used to be around, and I think there's just so many water weapons around that it's a little bit obnoxious, really.
And what does the development team have against dwarves? I don't understand that. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I
It's
think
not
there
against
was
Dwarves
some.
specifically. It was against a specific player with a specific class, and they were dominating the power base. A lot of
Well,
weapons came.
it wasn't just that player, which is Belderon. I don't know how Trick
He,
pronounces it, but
Shout out to Trick.
yeah, I don't think it was just specifically that character that caused it, because I think there were other strong dwarves. Because I think like maybe Celerity had like a dwarf
Animus. Yeah.
cleric that was really strong, and so
Yeah.
there's been a few really strong dwarven characters, and they have that vuln, and if there's a way to balance, I suppose maybe doing that would be to make more water weapons so they can get beat the hell down. I don't really know. I wasn't around, and dwarves themselves are actually really fun. They have good culture, if you will, and so I don't know. I think the race is fun, but yeah, every time that I think about rolling one, I'm thinking about, well, there's a whole slew of water weapons that are going to rip my ass, and so what am I going to do about that?
Yeah, it's kind of an uphill battle for them because, I mean, you can get a water weapon. There's water weapons of all different flavors, all different types, all shapes, all sizes. And
Yeah, yeah, there is. Yeah, and recently we added another one, um, a dagger, because do you know what class a dwarf can play that doesn't have dagger
uh,
specifically?
a cleric,
Yeah, well, there's a few of them, but there's another one now.
paladin.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that that's my opinion, anyways. Is that it's the water weapons? I mean, some people might think otherwise. I don't know. I don't know if this has really been talked about much. Maybe it has.
Well, we're bringing it out in the air right now, man. Let's start rattling off some of the water weapons that exist in this game, just so we can put it into perspective how many water weapons there actually are. I'm going to start off Staff of Aquatic Souls. Been there for a long time. Staple water weapon. It's a badass staff. There's no remove. You can just whip somebody's ass with it.
I don't think
Easy.
it's no remove, is it?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Hmm. I
It's a
didn't think
badass
any.
staff.
I didn't. I thought the only like no remove water weapon was the axe that you get in the chests or the lock boxes.
Oh, nope. The Staff of Aquatic Souls is no remove water staff. Easy to get.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What else?
but who can? Isn't that anti something? No, I'm thinking Nature Spirits. Where is it? Where?
Is the Storm Forger? Is that water?
Yes, I was actually looking because I'd forgotten it.
Yeah, you're right. It is no remove. That's kind of silly.
What about I'm thinking of one. Tempest Trident. What about the Tempest Trident?
I don't think it is.
You don't think it's water?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, it should be.
It's torrent.
Okay.
It's also iron, so bye elves.
And that's is that a two-handed spear? No, it's
No, it
one-handed
is a
spear.
single-handed. 27. Average 27.
Average 27. Yeah, and see that's another thing. Like, why is it average 27? Because typically, weapons that are vulnerability weapons aren't average that high of average. It's
Well,
like
it's
rare.
It's also unique. So.
Yeah, I know, but that to me that doesn't excuse it.
Fair.
Because the Staff of Aquatic Souls is unique too, but it's only average 25, which I thought was the max as far as weapons that exploit vulns.
Yeah, and how many dwarves can use spears?
I don't know, not a lot, I guess.
Berserker.
Warrior.
Warrior and
So,
Berserker, definitely.
yeah.
Okay. What about what's some other water weapons? What
Dagger
about-
of Perspiration.
Dagger of Perspiration.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the new one.
Isn't there another axe? What is where I'm something's popping in my brain, man. I don't know the name of
Waterfall
it.
is the one that you get in the lockbox.
I'm thinking of something called Leviathan something or other.
Sleuthro. Leviathan's passing.
Water? Is that water?
I don't know. I don't recall the noun on that, honestly.
Is that the
It's in the CLFK, yes. It's the neutral only axe.
yeah?
It's the one that Flinor raped everybody with.
How do you spell that? SS.
SSL.
Yeah. SS? SSLUTHRIL. Coincidentally, I ran right today. Might be Leviathan's passing because you can create spring with it.
Okay.
No, it's not a water weapon.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just the fact that you can create spring with it.
Gotcha.
Which is a handy thing to have. Create spring.
Yeah.
But you don't really need the axe to do that because you have that little the moat.
Moat ties. And what
Yeah.
exactly is a moat? What is a moat? What is that? I don't know what that is.
What's a moat? A moat is like a big ditch with water in it that goes around a castle.
No.
That's M-O-A-T, M-O-T-E. Moat, as in speck.
Oh, okay.
Small
Let's see.
particle.
Oh, okay.
A tiny piece of a substance.
Okay. So a tiny piece of tides. Excellent.
Like you see motes of dust sparkling through a sunbeam.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful image you just painted there for me, Magic. Thank you. Just gonna take a break for a little bit of promotion right here. This podcast is brought to you by Milk, the official drink of the Forsaken Lands. Anyway.
What? Milk? That's a terrible choice.
That milk, oh man. Whoever put in Relardia is just horrible in my opinion because of the.
What's wrong with the milk?
So let's give a shout out to Kalerna, the crafter, and her barrels of milk. So at some point, the staff decided that, hey, there's going to be one substance that drives the whole economy here. It's going to be in Relardia, and it's going to be milk. Milk is...
The problem I have
as
with
milk
milk
is.
The problem I have with milk, specifically barrels of milk from Relardia, is the fact that you can get a barrel which lasts a long time, and it makes spells like create food virtually redundant.
Yeah.
You go
Also,
in.
dysentery.
Yeah. I mean,
It
yeah.
kind of removes the potence of it because you're not having to eat food, so it doesn't damage you when you're trying to eat.
Yeah, and as everybody has it on tap now, it hurts that spell too. But more specifically, you go in, I think it's like at level 5, you can buy a ton of them for 250 gold each, and you're set for the rest of your character's life. Assuming people don't.
Well, I don't know about for the rest of your character's life. I mean, maybe depends on the character.
That's
For
true.
the way most people play their character, it will be for the rest of their life.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, 12 mils and you're good.
I mean, back in the day before it came out, it used to go over to and grab the barrel from John.
Off call, yeah.
And then take it down to off
the
call
barrels in.
Yep, and dump those straight into that barrel. So you'd get like 13 and a half milk bottles into that barrel, but it required effort and time.
There's something wrong, Magic.
What?
There's something wrong with the fact that it's 13 and a half that you can dump in there. I'm just saying. Continue on. Because that's such a specific thing to know the exact number for.
Well, what do you think? He's a numbers guy. You think he's not going to know that?
It's not even that. It's you grab the barrel so often, you go down there and you buy all these up and you're dumping these in, and you realize after you do it so many times that you get the 12th one in, you get the 13th, and that one doesn't fill it up all the way. You still got a little bit in there. So you get your other barrel out, dump that in, dump 12 more, and it's just one of those things to where if you do it often enough, you're going to remember this shit.
I guess
Very
so.
true. Very
I've
true.
done it quite a bit, and I don't remember. Maybe my memory just sucks.
I mean, you could spam it, but I don't like being wasteful.
That's true.
Is what it is.
You don't want to be wasteful with your electronic milk. Does that make it take on a different weight
come on.
whenever you're proposed with it being just electronic?
Well, okay, we're talking about people who played this game and will take the adventurer route just so they can squeeze out 20 more practices just so they can get 20 more hit points and think that makes all the difference.
I'd do it for 10.
And yet you chide me for wasting my digital milk.
Well, there's been, I'm sure over the life of this game, there has been hundreds, if not thousands, of fights that have come down to 10 hit points.
You know what? You're probably right. Over the life of the game, that's 20 years worth of fights where 10 hit points probably would have mattered 1,000 or more times. Out of the millions and tens of millions of times where it didn't.
Yeah, maybe so. But
Yeah.
The point is, it did at some point, and so therefore it seems worth it.
So you account for things that have like a 1% like likelihood, like the likelihood of your fight coming down to 10 hit points is like super low percentage. You in your daily life, do you
I
prepare
don't know
for
that
things
it
that
is
way?
that low. I mean, I don't
Like,
know.
do you have a nuclear fallout shelter in your backyard? Because you should.
Okay, I took three PKs posted on the forums at random. Well, I say at random. It was like the top 3 at the time. There were of those posts, there were 5 resets, and 10 resets. And out of those, one time in each PK did less than 50 hit points matter. The third one, the second one, where there was only 5 resets, the guy came back and actually won after he was down to like 37 hit points. So, kudos to him in that regard. But it was only once and once and once. So you're looking at 20% of the time, 20% of the time, and 10% of the time. And that's out of those fights that were posted. Because there would be a whole lot more where people fought and didn't get posted, and 10 hit points wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
The other thing you need to look at is, okay, those 10 hit points might have mattered there. You need to see the other side too. If you got hit and if you actually had 10 more hit points out of the damage you took for that hit, would you have been able to survive? So we're only seeing literally half the picture because the other half, well, the game stops.
What? The game stops? What?
Yeah, the game stops the battle. You're dead. You're not going to do a full round on somebody once you get them into the negatives. Once you hit past -10, the game's over. So the question is, yes, would 20 hit points have mattered at the end of that round? Would they have been able to?
What you're saying is there is a chance, right? There's a chance that it comes down to 10 hit points. And I guarantee you it doesn't happen as much as it used to happen. Because whenever you used to fight, it used to be there wasn't this crazy damage and there wasn't these. Well, I feel like there was lopsided victories for sure, but I don't feel like they were as prevalent as they are now.
Well, there's also more people fighting too.
Yeah, there were.
I'm probably willing to say that an extra 10 hit points might have saved a person or did save a person
It has
than
100% at some point in this game. I mean, I've
less
seen
than 5.
logs where someone has 7 hit points at the end of a fight.
Yes, but the point is those logs and those instances account for less than 5% of the total fights that happen throughout.
Okay, and so if you have a 300-hour character, how long of that percentage of hours is it to take you to get from level 1 to 30 as an adventurer, get equipment, and then re-level back up to 30 really quickly because you got all that stuff? I mean, is it worthwhile, I guess, is the question.
Almost every instance of leveling a character, you get to 30, you're taking more time to then go back and redo those first 30, even though they don't take that much time at all. So if it takes you, say, 1 hour per 10 levels to start,
let's say it takes you 2 hours.
And then it takes you another 10 minutes to get back to 30. That's still 3 hours and 10 minutes that you spent getting to 30 in your guild.
Yeah, 3 hours and 10 minutes out of a 300 character or 300-hour character is, what, 1%?
You want to know? Okay, if we're sitting there playing this, you know what gives you more hit points in that regard than min-maxing an adventure? Going out and doing quests.
Yeah, but you can min-max an adventure and go out and do quests and get both. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't.
If that's the case,
okay, is it going to make a big deal? No, it all depends on what you want to put into the character. I'm not saying that it's going to make you survive every single battle, but there are battles it might help. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I'm saying that most of them aren't. And in my opinion, me taking extra time out for less than 5% gain isn't worth it.
I disagree. I think it is worth it for me, but that's also because it gives me time in the lower levels to kind of flesh my stuff out whenever I'm not getting demolished
if you want to do it for that, I have nothing but props to give on that order. I just can't see it every time.
There's something satisfying to me about going adventurer and getting to level 30 and fully equipping my guy and having, a level 30 mob and a stone golem, and then picking my guild and then re-leveling really quickly. There's something to me that gratifying about that, because not everyone wants to do it. Not everyone wants to go through that, whether it's worth it or not.
The other thing is you cannot go hardcore unless you app for it.
I don't do hardcore.
I'm just pointing that out for people who would be listening.
Yeah. So really, it's a peace of mind thing, knowing that you did every possible thing you could to give your character the maximum edge. If it does come down to it, you like to know that you gave it all you got. Am I right?
Well, no.
Am I right?
I think I really just like to waste time because I had my half-drow character that was a necromancer. He had 900 roleplay points, and I spent only 300 of them, and that was on a couple rooms, and I spent a little more than 300 because I did eventually, like after I became Lich, I got a necklace because I thought I had to use it to survive because I sucked so bad. But before that, I had 600 hours on the character, I bought a little pet that cost me 60 roleplay points, and I bought 2 rooms that were a part of my becoming a Lich plot. So I didn't have any edges. I didn't have a roleplay necklace until I was already a Lich for a while, and I don't know. So yeah, I'm not like the min-maxer like some people are, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it's not really for power, it's more just for my gratification, I guess.
Sure. Well, it's because it's there to do. You can take that extra step, and you want to take it. I get it.
Yeah.
It feels good to take that extra step.
And with that, I have no complaints. It's the people that will do it every time because they believe that they need that extra 20. Like Wade, for example. Wade will do it every time.
I don't know if Wade does do adventures. I don't know.
Okay, maybe I'm picking on Wade here, but I know there are people who will do it.
There are, yeah, there definitely are.
Shout out to Wade. So let's talk about RP for a second since we went down that road. We talked about descriptions. What as far as role play point rewards for journals, what's high end, what's low end? Can you actually get docked for writing some, like, if I wrote some BS, if I wrote a journal that's like roses are red, violets are blue, you know,
Can
your
you?
mom,
Yeah. Yes, you can. If
but
you
will I get docked for it?
Yeah, you can get docked for it. If it's not very often, but sometimes there are certain players who are known to write pretty useless journals trying to farm roleplay points, and if we notice a trend, we'll start either A, rewarding very little, or B, in some cases, not very often, docking them, and then putting some kind of note saying, hey, you know, your journals are really shitty. Sorry, pardon my French, I guess. Is this a clean podcast?
I don't think it has to be because, no.
We're all
If right
adults
now,
here.
it's fine. Yeah, we're all adults here.
Okay,
Yeah.
Grim. Well, you're asking if this is a clean podcast. Grim led in with "Hey, motherfuckers."
Yeah, so we already kind of,
Okay, so
we're already demonetized on this episode.
we just need to find a sponsor who can handle our potty mouths.
Yeah, we'll
Well,
get it.
there's a difference between demonetizing due to language and thinking that you're going to be demonetized due to language and actually using bad language.
Sure.
And being demonetized for the racial slurs and cultural insensitivity and shit like that.
Well, I can always just edit it in post production and just bleep it out anyway. If I want.
Funny enough, I think the only one who's gonna make racial slurs here is probably Grim. So, and that's
I'm
an
gonna
odd
refrain
thing.
from that. I'm gonna refrain from that. I'm trying to stay focused. This is the first episode, so it's kind of feeling it out, as it were.
So yeah, no, you can be docked. It's not very often.
As far as journal content, journals are pretty open ended. Like you can write, like, because sometimes the journals I've put in are like little short stories, maybe written in third person, like about my character, and the title will be like the subject will be like the title of a little, like, whatever, it's just like a little short story. That's been acceptable. What other kind of approaches, is it help to have like an interesting approach to a journal? Do y'all prefer traditional journals? Is it somebody's like actually writing in a journal? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So you can just edit that out. Okay. So I guess before we took the break, we were talking about journals and roleplay points, and I guess maybe what we look at.
Yeah.
Is that what you're wanting to know?
Yeah, that's what we're getting at. Just, insight on and maybe ideas for different approaches to journals. More creative journaling, because it's easy to get, open up the journal editor and be like, today I hung out with my cabal mates. We went to Steel. We had, that kind of bullshit.
We see journals like that sometimes, and those are they're journals, but I can't call them great journals. And I would say that every immortal is different. Here's the disclaimer: every immortal is different. However, we have some certain guidelines that we follow, but we're all different, and so different journals can get different rewards based on who rewards them. And unfortunately, sometimes I can see a lot of variance, but most of the time I feel like it doesn't. But yeah, what I personally look for is length, content. Obviously, you want a decent length. If you're getting, the more length you have, the more points you're going to get. Unless, of course, it's just you're writing a bunch of drama that's means nothing to anyone, then you're going to get less points. But like one thing that for me that what I really reward good on is character development, or like talking about something that happened and then how that affected your character. For instance, like the first time your character kills someone, in my mind that's kind of an important time in a killer's life, if you will. So like how did that affect that person? what did it do to him mentally? I don't know. I sometimes write about the first time, that my characters kill someone. Not on every character, but like for instance, like my Minotaur warrior had a completely different reaction to the first time that she like killed someone, and then eventually she actually killed a friend of hers. We were dueling, and then I accidentally, spammed, and I killed her friend, and then so that had like a whole different profound thing. And I don't recall if I wrote a journal on it, but I was going to if I would have kept the character. But I'm pretty sure I did write a journal. But anyways, yeah. So also, other than length and content, also sometimes people write like short stories about their characters or about situations that either their characters or other people in their character's story have. For instance, I don't know, maybe it could be, like this mentor of your character, and it's a story about them somehow, but has to do with your character. We see that a lot. And then also stories that push plots or your own storyline. We see those, and they're, depending on the content and the length, they're usually rewarded fairly decently. Depends on how much time you take and what the story is about, and there's a bunch of stuff. It's all subjective, though. I mean,
So what you're saying is it boils down to the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. Well, almost. There is a caveat there because there's some characters who put a lot into journals, but it's obviously that they're putting
Fluff.
all that effort, yes, and it's fluff and it's role play, basically padding, if you will. They're just trying to farm role play points. I mean, it's pretty obvious whenever someone does that. And so
we're not going to name any names that have done that in the past with notes. Aabahran.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think we even need to say anything. People just read the notes and they can understand like what they're doing, especially like if your journals, if they start repeating themselves a lot, or if you add the same line at the beginning and the end, like, you could use Alcar's example, but that's what he did. He added a bunch of stuff at the beginning of his journals, and it basically took up a paragraph, and it was the same thing over and over. It was like the intro of his notes. And it's like, I'm not going to keep rewarding you for that because you've already written it and you just keep writing it. You know what I mean?
I usually pride myself on reading stuff like that, but it got to the point where I saw his name and I kept on going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure as players, sometimes you get involved in Cabal stuff, like there's notes passed back and forth, and eventually it's just like, man, we're just saying the same things over and over. It's kind of like almost like, Discord or the forums, whenever there's people getting debates, it's the people have their arguments and they're not going to budge off of them. And they're just going to keep arguing and arguing, and they're basically going at the same point from different directions. And it's like, okay, we've hashed out this conversation. We get it. You guys don't agree. Let's just move on. But yeah, it's kind of like that. So
if I have a question, if I'm writing a journal and it's about like an experience I had with another character or something, if I mention or I bring into it the other character, like let's say for instance, my character and your character had a long RP session. I wrote a nice journal about all of it. Will your character get RP points from my journal from being included in it?
No.
That's more so for just RP logs that are posted to the
Yeah, you'd have to post a roleplay log, but that's your writing that you're doing. So why would they get points for it just because they're involved in your writing? They wouldn't. Because I mean, I could get on a character today and I could write about my buddy that I want to get some roleplay points, and there's no proof that conversation ever existed, and it's just free writing on your part, And so that's why like we wouldn't reward someone for just being in a journal.
Oh, okay.
The problem
Fair
with
enough.
having other people's characters in your journal is because at that point, aren't you kind of writing what their character's like
Yeah. I mean, if it
from
is
your
what
perception? I mean, it's your
right. That's yeah.
perception of what they're like.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say, and that might give more life, I think, possibly to their character because, I mean, it may give you immortal staff a different look on it too. Because sometimes, okay, for instance, I can be playing a character, and in my head, this character is a certain way. You know, like I can see what he's like because I developed him. But somebody else I'm playing with might have a totally different
You're a
perception.
robot.
Oh my god.
It's great for live.
Yeah, mic check, mic check.
Yeah, no, I can see what you mean. It gives people a different perception about other people's characters, but maybe that person doesn't want that perception. Maybe, for instance, maybe you feel like that character is a coward, and maybe, you know, maybe you write about that about him like he is a coward. Whenever that player doesn't perceive his own character as a coward, he might have some other motives as to why, what he's doing, and then you
Right.
might label him a coward, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a coward. You just may not understand what his motives are.
Yeah, that's another thing is misunderstanding of characters. I feel like I've had characters misunderstood a whole lot. You know, it's like I presented RP in a way that I thought would go over well and would be well understood, but sometimes it's totally missed, and there's like miscommunications, between people. How
Yeah, that
you
happens
know,
all
and
the time, to be honest with you.
and really, we want the immortal staff to have the clearest vision of our character. You know, anybody in the game, like this dude over here thinks this or that. I want the immortals to have a clear picture of what my character is. You know, so journaling kind of helps that because that's something that only they can see.
Yeah.
So they have,
Yeah.
so
For sure.
the best. So you're saying the best journals give the clearest sight to your character's growth, development, and all that, so you can see them three-dimensionally, as it were.
Yeah, and what's good about that is it actually makes our job as immortals a little easier if we want to come down and role play with you, either as an immortal or as a NPC, because that way we kind of know your character a little better and we know what makes them tick, and it gives a little more personalized experience, so you're not getting the same old, really. And it's actually kind of nice. In fact, there's been a few times where I've gone down. I remember one character was an ogre warrior in War Master, and his tribe had been killed by like a cult of witches or mages. I don't remember specifically what it was, but he hated all mages, and I went down and I was just I randomly every few days like send him a few echoes and just kind of stirring up his past and making him kind of come back to haunt him, and just trying to make it interesting. And the character deleted eventually, and I wasn't able to actually do anything with the whole story or plot. And honestly, that happens often, and maybe that's just because we take too long to flesh stuff out. I can't say it's their fault, but that's the unfortunate nature of just how it works. Because it's like you want to present the story and you want to build it up into something, but that takes time. That takes time. If I just plop it in front of your face, then it's not going to be genuine. I feel like.
Sure.
On top of that is you are around them so often, and if they're putting in 40-hour weeks and you're only there 5 hours and you happen to catch them once a week, well, they're going to burn through their character that much faster anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we see that.
I was just thinking that
quite a bit for people who play their characters like 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day or even 4 hours every day. You see burnout pretty quick on those characters. I don't know. Some people are like, they just do that and they can play like that, but most people burn out.
100%. 100%. And what happens is, oftentimes, the first month, be hitting it hot and heavy. I'll get like 30 or 40 hours in the first month. Second month, man, then I'm kind of feeling the effects, because I'm at 50, I'm chilling or whatever, and it's kind of...
You're breaking up quite a bit. Like, we can hear every other word out of your mouth.
Mm.
I don't know. We should probably bring this to a closing for today.
Yeah.
I need to head out.
Yeah. So, is there like a closing
hey guys, thanks for listening.
ditty that we sing or something?
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We'll be here every week to talk about stuff with Rygo and Grim and Magic and all of our friends. We'll see you next week when the podcast ends.
That was pretty terrible because you're breaking up, but